Coming up on this edition of Command Center, Coach Commands with Ron Rivera. It is Dallas week. Alice coach how the team is putting the Eagles behind them and preparing for a trip to Jerry World for their second straight NFC East matchup. If we want to leave Dallas with the win, we will need a good day from our defense. The secondary had some bright spots last weekend, specifically Benjamin St-Juste. Coach breaks down some of the best plays. And Micah Parsons and the Dallas defense have looked pretty good to start the season. What makes that unit so tough? Coach and Logan will review the game tape. It all starts right now. Get a great deal on a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle. Peace of mind with incredible benefits. Finding the Honda you really want just got easier with Honda certified pre-owned. Hurry, see your local Honda dealer today. And welcome on in. Julie Donaldson here with the head coach Ron Rivera, and of course Logan Paulsen, as always, is standing by to go over some film tape with Coach. We love those segments, good insight. So that's coming up in just a few minutes. But Coach, let's get to this. Okay. It's been a rough few weeks, right? Mm-hmm. What is the message to the guys, and how did they respond to that this week in practice?
Well, I'd like to believe they got the message. The message really is just about, making the commitment, staying focused, continue working through the process. I mean, we got a lot of young guys that are playing some football right now and doing some good things, some bad things, some things that we got to get better at. But that's what we try to do, is improve from what we did last Sunday. And I thought practice went well. I thought the guys responded. Now it's a matter of us taking what we did and putting it on the game field. Last season you had to wait till like the very end of the year to get to these divisional games to kind of see how you stack up. At that point you kind of have a little bit more rhythm of the team and a little bit more, play underneath their legs. Well, here you go, back-to-back divisional games, going to Dallas. If the fan base and the media doesn't tell you how big of a game this is, we don't have to, you already know. But how big does a win help you this early on, knowing there's still so much football to go? Oh, there's plenty of football left to go, and a win like this really is one of those things that can help right the ship. I mean, we're going through a little bit of a transition right now. We're now on our third starting center. We've had a number of injuries that we've had to work through, but I think the guys really are responding well. They're practicing hard. They're understanding what it is at stake, and this is important. We got to go out and make some things happen. Let me ask you about some of those injuries and the third starting center. I mean, that's one area where you really would like a little bit of stability, and you really don't even want to be talking about the center, meaning he's doing his job. So unfortunately, a lot of focus on that offensive line. Consistency, how do you get that when the line continues to shuffle? Well, they just got to continue to work together. That's all you can ask, is for them to continue to work together, get more and more comfortable with one another, have a better feel for what we're doing. And then we got to make sure we're helping them. We got to make sure we're putting them in position so they can have some success, whether it be something to do with our protections, with our blocking schemes, with our play calling, whether we run the ball more, we throw the ball a little bit quicker, we have a little something in our protections. We've got to make sure we are giving them the opportunity to go out and execute to the best of their ability. This offense is a lot of excitement with all the different playmakers you have, but I don't feel like you've really gotten totally into the rhythm that you would like with this, and of course a couple of slow starts in the past few games as well. What do you take from those starts to say this is what we need to adjust to, given the changes on the line as well? Well, I think part of it is going to be, again, the play calling, but then the execution is really big. We got to make sure that, if we're calling to get the ball out quick, we've got to get it out quick. If we're going to run the ball, we've got to make sure we commit to the blocking for that particular run on that play. I mean, these are little detail things, but they're things that we have to make sure we are doing the right things. Micah Parsons, whew. He's a one-man wrecking crew. DeMarcus Lawrence, I don't know how closely when you're watching the injury report out in Dallas for that, but what can you do to try and slow them down, knowing the pressure that they will be bringing as well? Well, I think the big part of it, more so than anything else, is again about how are we going to execute. If we can, again, make sure we've given them the opportunity to succeed and they go out and execute, I think we have a chance to slow some things down. I really do. I like our ability with our playmakers and making sure we can get the ball into their hands. Do you worry at all about the mindset of Carson being sacked 14 times? No, okay. I don't. Trying to get to the quarterback. It's not going to be Dak Prescott out there as he's still dealing with injury, but Cooper Rush has got them managing 2 wins in a row. What have you seen from him to try and be able to try to slow him down? Well, I think play action is a big part of what they do, and what we have to do, and our defensive line plays a real big key in this, is just understand the play action, understand what they're trying to do in terms of slow the rush down and make them have to react to it. Well, the biggest thing that we would like for our guys to do is, hey, we'll play the run on our way to the quarterback. Let's get into our creases. Let's get vertical. Let's attack the line of scrimmage as opposed to sit back and go sideways. If you go sideways, which is what they want, it gives that quarterback a little extra time. He's not as nifty in the pocket, as a Dak Prescott, but he has good command of what they do, and he hangs in the pocket.
And Jerry Jones has mentioned that they really want to stress the running game, so limiting Zeke and Pollard to kind of put that extra pressure on Rush. You go about that how?
Well, same thing. You got to be able to shut the run down. I mean, I thought last week we handled it pretty good. We held one of the top rushing teams in the league to only about 84 or 5 yards for that game. So it's something we've got to be able to do. But then on the inverse, we cannot give up the explosives like we have 2 weeks in a row.
Okay, we're talking about Dallas week. We're excited for it, Coach. We're going to talk a little bit more about this rivalry when we come back here as well. One of the bright spots on defense last weekend was the play of second-year cornerback Benjamin St-Juste. He missed a good portion of last season dealing with concussion-related issues, but he had a productive game on Sunday, getting 3 solo tackles and 3 pass defensed, playing outside due to the absence of William Jackson III. Here's a look at how the defensive backs did against the Eagles. Cam Curl had 8 tackles, 1 for a loss. Kendall Fuller and St-Juste combined for 9 tackles and 4 pass defensed. Now for more, let's send it on into the film room. It is presented by Mavenspire, ransomware that goes 3 and out with Mavenspire's Smart as a Service cybersecurity offerings. Learn more at mavenspire.com. Logan and Coach, take it away.
Coach, always a pleasure to have you here. I'm excited to talk about Benjamin St-Juste. He had an excellent game, and again, against some really good wide receivers. This is the first play I picked, but there was about 10 plays I could have picked. You guys are in quarters coverage here. I love this, just real easy. Everyone's got a quarter of the field. And when they play verticals, which they are here, it kind of plays like man on the outside, right?
Yes.
And I love how aggressive he is, and I love how he's playing with excellent vision. Let's hear it. Benjamin St-Juste right there, eyes on him, and watch him just kind of in his back pedal, eyes on the quarterback, right? Eyes on the receiver, and right when Hurts slows his feet, he slows his feet and is able to make a heck of a play here,
right.
Coach.
The biggest thing and the thing that's really good about it is his technique is very, very sound. First and foremost, what the things he's doing is he's being very patient. He's in a good body position right now with vision to the wide receiver and seeing the quarterback at the same time. As you said, once the quarterback gets set, now he has to wait for the break point.
Yeah.
Is the receiver going to try and keep going vertical, or is he going to stutter his feet? So what he's seeing is the quarterback's in position now to deliver the ball. What is my receiver doing? As soon as he sees the pitter-patter of the receiver, he now puts himself in position, okay, to make his move.
Right.
And now he has stayed on top.
Yep.
He's going to make a break. And the unfortunate thing is the wide receiver gets away with a little bit of offensive interference, because if he doesn't touch him, Benjamin's going to intercept this and take this the distance.
And you just love that he's even an opportunity to do that, Coach, because that's him just playing aggressive,
Yes.
Great technique, great footwork. You see that athleticism from the combine showing up. Love that. And again, this next play is maybe one of my favorite play calls from the game, because it's aggressive by Jack, right?
Yes.
We're getting kind of a zero pressure here. Everyone's blitzing. We've got guys matching the running back. We've got guys lined up on the receivers, but everyone's solo because there's nobody in the middle of the football field. That's high stress for those DBs, especially if the president doesn't get home.
Yes, and again, this goes back to doing your technique and doing the things that you're supposed to. Again, Benjamin's where he's supposed to. All right, he gets the release. He works, stays in a hip position. We call it tailpipe.
Yep.
He follows it. He sees the break, and he doesn't react until he sees the wide receiver react. He's very patient.
Yeah.
And as he reacts, he turns, locates the ball, and put his hands where it needs to be.
Yeah, I love that. Like you said, he doesn't react until the receiver reacts, because then he can actually turn and make a play on the ball while still staying in phase with the receiver. And how cool is it to see a young guy playing with that kind of confidence? Or maybe he's just playing the right technique. I don't know.
Well, he's playing with confidence, but he's also using his technique, and that's why he's playing confident, because he knows if he sticks to what he's been taught, he's got a chance to make a play. And we've seen him 2 really good plays here.
2 really good plays, and he, just being in position and being competitive at the catch point, using that size, using that length. That's awesome to see. And again, Coach, here we go. We got 3rd and 1,000,000 miles, and I don't know really what coverage this is. It feels like cover 3 to me. You get guys kind of in the thirds of the field here, 1, 2, 3, and you get this guy kind of buzzing this 3-by-1 over here, which to me means that Benjamin over here is in a one-on-one situation by himself on an island.
Right, especially if he gets an outside release. Once the receiver gets to his outside, he knows he's trying to go vertical.
Yeah.
Now it's a matter of putting yourself in the best position to make the play.
Right.
And again, relying on your technique.
Yes, relying on your technique. And like, what is that technique here, Coach? Because there's a lot of stuff going on here, right? You see him playing here with vision back to the quarterback. You love that. Love his eyes to the ball, right? But he's also got to feel the receiver too.
Exactly, because once the receiver kind of shows him he's trying to, lean in like he's going to the post, but then he works back out. Now what it is to try and constrict him as close as you can to the sideline, okay? And then continue to run with him and wait for the ball. Again, because of his length.
Yeah.
Because of his length, he can make up a lot of ground, and he throws his hands in between the receiver's hands to make the play.
Because when I first saw this, Coach, I thought he had a step, right? And it looks like it, right? But I think you hit it perfectly there, right? Great athleticism, but also that's where that size comes in, right? Because he's able to close this cushion and then get that hand up and knock this ball away without even really jumping.
Correct. Again, it's just a matter of using your technique and understanding when to make your play.
Gosh, Coach, I'm so excited to see more from this guy. It's great to see a guy playing with confidence and great technique, and always a pleasure having you on, Coach.
Appreciate it.
For everything you need to know about the team, do not miss our flagship show, Command Center. You can join myself, former tight end and film room expert Logan Paulsen, and our Waddle 8 to the 9 Santana Moss every day for your Commanders fix, highlights, analysis, and inside access you will not get anywhere else. You can see every episode on our YouTube channel and on commanders.com. You can also check us out on NBC Sports Washington weekdays 5:30 and 10 p.m. Now don't go anywhere, because when we come back, Logan and Coach are heading into his office to review some of the game tape, looking at Micah Parsons and the Cowboys defense. They've looked pretty stout through 3 weeks, and a little later on, well, we're looking back at a pretty big moment from Coach's career here in Washington. And here's a hint, it was a big win over a team we do not like. It's all coming your way on Command Center, Coach Commands with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. Welcome on back. It is time for some healthy competition presented by Ortho Virginia, the official orthopedic and sports medicine partner of the Washington Commanders. So here's a look at how the Commanders and Cowboys stack up if you take a look at them on paper. Washington has been putting up more points. Of course, Dak Prescott has not been out there for the past few games. However, you look at the passing yards as well, the edge goes to Washington, but the ground game has been a priority for Dallas so far early on in this season, and rushing yards allowed, relatively evenly split here. But let's see now what head coach had to say about the matchup this week.
Because it's the Cowboys. I mean, that's why. I mean, more so than anything else. I mean, that's traditionally been, the one of the NFC East rivals. There's a long history between them, and we look forward to the opportunity to play them.
What makes Parsons so good as a pass rusher?
One of the big things is tremendous athleticism. I mean, he's a special dynamic athlete. I think the ability the way they use him and use his ability, they move him around. Again, it's if you can create one-on-ones and not just one-on-one, but if you try to get all four guys, get them singled up, and you add a fifth guy, and as far as the rush is concerned, it makes it difficult, and again, you have to be really sound, really solid in your protections.
It is Dallas week, and we know exactly what that means for everybody here in the district. Of course, it would put Washington even on the season and 1-1 in the division. But to do that, well, they have to stop Micah Parsons and the Cowboys defense, which is what Coach and Logan are going over on the game tape. This is the Rivera Review, presented by DC Prime. All stakes are not created equal.
All right, Coach, we're going to take a look at a couple protection clips from the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, they played a couple teams here, and everyone's after a game like that, everyone's a protection expert, right? And so here we go. We got a max look here, and I think there are some issues with going max pro.
Yep.
And one of the issues is I think you get poor pass protectors, running backs, on linebackers who are great blitzers, as opposed to kind of spreading it out and letting guys play football.
Yes, and there are some things that you can do, as we talked about earlier. Some of these you can set up screens. Some of the things you can, throw the ball out quick to the guy that has the deepest DB on him, you know, and really prevent the opportunity from the pass rush to get there. Now you've got to hope that somebody makes somebody miss to pick up the yardage needed for the first down or the touchdown.
Right.
But that's all part of the game, and that's all part of the strategy.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, if you look at this clip here, like this tight end here up top, like they're keeping him in, right, to give Neal, who had a rough game, some help here. But when you leave a tight end in, if they're playing man coverage, that safety's going to add, right? Yes. And you just keep blockers in, you lose eligibles. And look, right now in this pass route, it's 3-on-4, which to me is not great offensive football.
Well, and to your point of this is exactly it. Right now they got a post safety. Okay, that post safety is responsible for the running back, more than likely. If that running back goes fast to the flat, that guy's got to come down and cover him, or the defensive end has to peel. Well, if that happens, guess what? That's one less rusher, right? Now you have an opportunity to match your protection, because if you look at it, because of the way they're rushing, they have more than enough people to protect.
Right.
They have more than enough. Again, so they really kind of put themselves in a tough position by doing what they've done, to your point.
Right.
You have time. You just have to recognize and understand. This is not a zero blitz.
Right.
Okay? And because it's not, you have one more enough to protect and give that quarterback time. I definitely agree with what you're saying. And what they really are trying to do, and we'll do this from the tight end zone, is right now what they're trying to create is a bunch of one-on-one matchups, because they believe
the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely. They're going to win their one-on-ones if they have to. So really, for the most part, what you have is you have a series of 6 one-on-ones with an add-on.
Right.
Okay, and because they have an add-on, that means the safety has the tight end number 85.
And
he's going to add into this rush. Now, they can technically block everybody if you watch, okay, for the most part. So what's going to happen is, okay, the whole left side of the offensive line is going to be responsible for those left 3 rushers.
Yes, right.
The back's going to come down and he's going to pick up 55.
Right.
They're going to fan 64 to the 3 technique. 73 is going to take Parsons, and 85 technically will be responsible for the safety, which means you can block everybody.
Absolutely.
But this is what Dallas wants. They want a series of one-on-ones.
Right. And I think like this is exactly why, right? Because when you get one-on-ones, like the weakest pass protector is going to have a tough day, right? And the other thing they're really good at is these line stunts with Barr and these linebackers. They're really good at this kind of stuff. Again, exploiting those one-on-one matchups. And I love that you brought up the idea of free release in the back here, Coach, because I think about that play to Curtis Samuel against the Detroit Lions. Like that's a free release of the back, and you find mismatches in the pass game when defenses get aggressive like this.
Right. Well, what they've done right here is they basically have told everybody that 26 is now blocking.
Yes.
So that means that right defensive end who probably had a peel technique on,
which is essentially they start their rush and then peel if the back goes to their side.
Correct. And because of that, again, they keep you in. So really, the Giants have done is they've told them, hey, we're going to protect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And so that tells Van Der Esch he can come, because I'm telling you right now, if you really look at it, more than likely right here, when 26 steps up into the line, Van Der Esch just told everybody, okay, I get the blitz.
Right, absolutely.
So, again, I'm guessing for the most part, but that's sure
what it feels like, right?
Yes, it does.
And again, so this is one way to handle it. And when to me, you're putting yourself in a little bit of a bind here, a disadvantage in the pass game, right? The other way to do it is what Tampa Bay does in the next clip here.
Yes.
And they spread everybody out.
Yep.
And this has its own difficulties too, but I think it gives you more options from a pass game standpoint.
Right. Well, what Tampa Bay did also, though, is for the most part, they came out and they start moving people around. Well, by moving people around, that puts a little doubt in the defensive mind.
Love it. Yep.
Okay, so now they've taken the tight end, moved him from one side to the other. In fact, actually took him out. So now what that does is he sees the matchup he likes.
Right.
He sees a linebacker covering who he believes is an athletic, good route running tight end. Okay, and now he thinks he has a mismatch to that side. So he's going to read it, okay, and then he's going to put it out there.
That's tough.
If the ball's just a little bit higher or this guy makes the catch, first down.
In honor of the breast cancer awareness game against the Tennessee Titans on October 9th, the Washington Commanders are offering a special T-shirt and ticket package. Purchase this special offer and receive a free limited edition Command the Cure shirt. All proceeds will benefit the Brim Foundation and the Zeta Foundation. Visit commanders.com/BCA offer to get yours today. On game days, do not miss Command Center Game Day Live, the official pregame show of the Washington Commanders. We're live on the air starting 2 hours before kickoff. That will be 11 a.m. tomorrow for our matchup with the Cowboys. You can watch on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. And after the game, do not miss Command Center Postgame Live for reaction analysis and interviews with head coach Ron Rivera and quarterback Carson Wentz. You can also find that on YouTube. Take command of your game days. Well, we are not done yet. After the break, we're looking back at Coach's winning legacy, including the first time he scored a win over the Cowboys here in Washington. That is next on Command Center. Coach Commands with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. Julie Donaldson back here as we are looking at some of the great accomplishments from head coach Ron Rivera's career. And of course, since it's Dallas week, well, we better look at Dallas, right? It is time for a winning legacy presented by the Maryland Lottery. Play fast, win fast, the new fast play games from the Maryland Lottery. Let's go to October 25th, 2020. Coach Rivera's first time facing the Cowboys as head coach right here in Washington. The team had lost 5 straight games heading into this one, and they came out firing. In the first quarter, Washington's defense scored a safety. Antonio Gibson ran in for a TD, and the second quarter, Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas each caught a touchdown pass from Kyle Allen. The defense held the Cowboys to only 3 points, and Washington gets the win 25-3. Coach, that made the fan base all pumped up and excited. I mean, if you're going to take down the NFC East, you got to take down the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. What do you remember most from that game?
Well, really just the energy in which the guys played with. It was one of those games that, we were at a certain point in the season, and I just try to stress the guys, why not us? Why don't we have a chance? And this is a great opportunity for us to get started. It was, and we fed off that momentum we got from the Cowboy game.
I think every single player and every single coach that has been asked about this week, there's always a question in there from the media about understanding the rivalry. Mm-hmm. It goes back pretty far,
yes,
of some very intense games between the two. When did you realize kind of how big of a deal that is to this market and this fan base?
Oh, I've always believed it and understood it, that it was a huge rivalry, especially growing up and remember watching the Thanksgiving games that they used to play back in the 70s. So you just knew it was a big deal.
Do you as a coach get up more for these rivalries? Can you feel it as well?
You do. I mean, you feel it, but at the same time, it's about controlling your emotions, because again, you've got to be able to think clear, you've got to be able to play clear, so you can play fast. And that's the biggest thing that we want to get our guys to do, is to play fast and understand that this game really is special, but they know that. They really do, and I'm excited about this coming Sunday.
Is there anything that you do with the players that maybe are kind of new to the area, new to the team, that say, hey, like here's kind of like maybe a little history lesson, and does that really have any impact at all? Or
it does, and it is important for our guys to understand the history. And one of the really neat things that we have here is we have a timeline downstairs, and in that timeline there's a lot of mention about beating the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And I think having our players go down and take a look at that has been a good thing for us.
I think one of the first rules I ever learned when I first came into this market is it's Dallas week and you gotta beat Dallas. Yes. That is one of the most important. It's officially Dallas week. We will see you back here next week as well, hopefully celebrating a win. Thanks so much, Coach, for your time, and of course for everybody for watching.